Hello and welcome to the Computer Vault podcast, where we discuss the history of computers, computing and IT. I'm Aidan, and today's episode returns from our break last week, which is the final in the mini-series on the first versions of Microsoft Windows, with this episode talking about Windows 3.0. If you are listening on Mixcloud, I'll be playing some music too, and episodes without music are available on all the mainstream podcast streaming platforms. Windows 3.0, released on May the 22nd, 1990, marked a significant milestone for Microsoft. The development of Windows 3.0 was driven by the need to create a more user-friendly and powerful operating environment compared to its predecessors, Windows 1.0 and 2.01. The project was led by David Weiss and Murray Sargent, who focused on improving the graphical user interface and memory management. Windows 3.0 was a significant commercial success. Within the first year of its release, sold approximately 4 million copies. Key features introduced in Windows 3.0 included an enhanced GUI. Applications were represented as clickable icons, making the interface more intuitive. Improved multitasking. The system could handle multiple applications running simultaneously, thanks to better memory management. Unprotected mode, leveraging the capabilities of the Intel 8286 and 8386 processors, Windows 3.0 could run applications in protected mode, allowing for more efficient multitasking and memory usage. Implementation of Windows 3.0 involved significant technical advancements. Microsoft introduced a new kernel that could run both real mode and protected mode, providing compatibility with older hardware while taking advantage of newer processors. This dual mode operation was crucial for its widespread adoption. Windows 3.0 also included support for multimedia extensions. These allowed for sound recording and playback, as well as support for CD-ROMs, and enhanced graphics. The system supported 16-colour VGA graphics, which was a substantial improvement over previous versions. Windows 3.0 was a commercial success, selling over 10 million copies within 2 years. Its user-friendly interface and improved performance made it popular amongst both consumers and businesses. The impact of Windows 3.0 on the market was profound. Increased productivity. The improved multitasking and memory management features allowed users to run multiple applications more efficiently, boosting productivity. Software development. The success of Windows 3.0 encouraged software developers to create more applications for the platform, leading to a richer ecosystem of software. And market competition. Windows 3.0 positioned Microsoft as a strong competitor against other operating systems like Apple's Macintosh and IBM's OS/2. Overall, Windows 3.0 played a pivotal role in establishing Microsoft as a dominant player in the operating system market and set the stage for future versions of Windows. Windows 3.0 and MS-DOS were both significant in their own right, but they offered very different user experiences and capabilities. Here's a comparison of the two. The user interface. Windows 3.0 introduced a graphical user interface with icons, windows, menus, making it more user-friendly and visually appealing. Users could interact with the system using a mouse, which was a significant shift from text-based commands. MS-DOS, a command-line operating system where users had to type commands to perform tasks. It was less intuitive for beginners and required memorization of commands. Multitasking. Windows 3.0 supported cooperative multitasking, allowing users to run multiple applications simultaneously. This was a major improvement over DOS, enabling better productivity, and MS-DOS lacked native multitasking capabilities. Users could only run one application at a time unless they used third-party software to enable multitasking. Memory management. Windows 3.0 utilized protected mode on 8286 and 8386 processors, allowing access to more memory and better management of system resources. This enabled more complex and memory-intensive applications. MS-DOS operated in real mode, which limited it to accessing only 640 kilobytes of conventional memory. This restriction often required users to manage memory manually using techniques like loading drivers into upper memory blocks. Application support. Windows 3.0 provided a platform for developing and running graphical applications. It also supported existing DOS applications, offering a bridge between old and new software. and MS-DOS primarily supported text-based applications. While it had a vast library of software, it lacked the graphical capabilities that Windows 3.0 introduced. Networking. Windows 3.0 included basic networking capabilities, which were further enhanced in Windows for Workgroups 3.1. This allowed for file sharing and network printing. And MS-DOS had limited networking support, often requiring additional software and configuration to enable network functionality. And finally, ease of use. Windows 3.0, designed to be more accessible to non-technical users with its GUI and mouse support, it simplified many tasks that were cumbersome in DOS. MS-DOS required users to have a good understanding of command line syntax and system commands, making it less accessible to beginners. In summary, Windows 3.0 represented a significant leap forward in terms of usability, multitasking, and graphical capabilities compared to MS-DOS. It laid the groundwork for the modern Windows operating systems we use today. Windows 3.0 was a significant advancement for its time, but it did have several limitations. Memory constraints. Windows 3.0 was limited to a maximum of 16 megabytes of memory. This was a significant improvement over previous versions, but still restrictive for more demanding applications. Stability issues. While more stable than its predecessors, Windows 3.0 could still be prone to crashes, especially when running multiple applications simultaneously. Multitasking limitations. Windows 3.0 used cooperative multitasking, meaning that if one application crashed or became unresponsive, it could affect the entire system. This was less efficient compared to preemptive multitasking used in later operating systems. Limited hardware support. The operating system had limited support for newer hardware and peripherals. Users often had to manually configure drivers, which could be a complex and error-prone process. Graphical limitations. Although it introduced a graphical user interface, the graphics capabilities were still relatively basic. The system supported only 16-color VGA graphics, which was a limitation for more graphically intense applications. Networking capabilities. The networking features in Windows 3.0 were quite basic. More advanced networking capabilities were introduced later with Windows for Workgroups 3.1. And compatibility issues. While Windows 3.0 could run DOS applications, there were compatibility issues with some older software. Additionally, not all DOS applications could take full advantage of the graphical interface. Despite these limitations, Windows 3.0 was a major step forward and laid the groundwork for future versions of Windows. It was a crucial turning point that helped establish Microsoft as a leader in the operating system market. Windows 3.1, released on April 6, 1992, introduced several key features that significantly enhanced the user experience and functionality compared to its predecessor, Windows 3.0. Some of the notable features on Windows 3.1 are TrueType fonts. Windows 3.1 introduced the TrueType font system, which provided scalable fonts that look good at any size and on any output device. This was a major improvement for desktop publishing. Multimedia support. The operating system expanded its multimedia capabilities, including support for sound recording and playback, as well as the introduction of Windows Media Player and Sound Recorder. Improved user interface. Windows 3.1 featured enhancements to the graphical user interface, including better icons and a more polished look. It also introduced screensavers. File and Program Manager. These tools were improved for better file and application management. The File Manager allowed for easier navigation and file operations, while the Program Manager provided a more organized way to launch applications. Windows Registry. Windows 3.1 marked the first introduction of the Windows Registry, a centralized database for storing configuration settings and options. Enhanced memory management. The system could utilize more memory than its predecessors, which improved performance and allowed for more complex applications. Networking capabilities. Windows for Workgroups 3.1, a special version of Windows 3.1, introduced integrated networking features. This allowed users to share files, use print servers, and engage in peer-to-peer networking. Drag and drop. This feature made it easier to move files and applications by simply dragging and dropping them with a mouse. And finally, keyboard shortcuts. Windows 3.1 popularized keyboard shortcuts like Ctrl and C, copy, Ctrl and X, cut, and Ctrl and V, paste, which are still widely used today. These features helped Windows 3.1 become a significant success, selling millions of copies and solidifying Microsoft's position in the operating system market. Windows 3.11, particularly the Windows for Workgroups version, was quite popular. While specific sales figures for Windows 3.11 alone are not readily available, it is known that Windows 3.1, which includes Windows 3.11, sold over 3 million copies in the first 3 months of its release. Windows 3.11, released in November 1993, was a significant update in the Windows 3 X series. Let's have a look at its history, features and impact. Windows 3.11 was developed as an incremental update to Windows 3.1, focusing on enhanced stability and performance. It was part of Windows for Workgroup line, which aimed to provide better networking capabilities for business environments. Windows 3.11 key features included enhanced networking. Windows 3.11 included built-in networking support, allowing for easier file and printer sharing. It introduced peer-to-peer networking, which enabled users to connect and share resources without a dedicated server. 32-bit file access. This feature improved disk performance by allowing the operating system to handle file operations more efficiently. And improved stability. Windows 3.11 addressed many of the stability issues present in earlier versions, making it more reliable for business and personal use. And enhanced GUI. Whilst the graphical user interface remains similar to Windows 3.1, minor tweaks and improvements were made to enhance the user experience. Windows 3.11 was well received, particularly in business environments, due to its improved networking capabilities and stability. It played a crucial role in popularizing Windows as a platform for both personal and professional use. Windows 3.11 set the stage for future versions of Windows by introducing features that would become standard in later releases. Its networking capabilities, in particular, were a precursor to the more advanced networking features found in Windows 95 and beyond. Overall, Windows 3.11 was a pivotal release that helped solidify Microsoft's dominance in the operating system market during the early 1990s. Windows 3.0 and its subsequent versions, Windows 3.1 and 3.11, were widely adopted by both business and consumers for various purposes. For businesses, office productivity. Businesses used Windows 3.0 to run office productivity software like Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. These applications benefited from the graphical user interface, which made them easier to use compared to their DOS counterparts. Networking. With the introduction of Windows for Workgroups 3.11, businesses could set up peer-to-peer networks, allowing for file and printer sharing without the need for a dedicated server. Database management. Applications like Microsoft Access allowed businesses to manage and analyze data more efficiently. Desktop publishing. The improved graphics capabilities and TrueType fonts in Windows 3.1 made it a popular choice for desktop publishing tasks. And email and communication. Businesses began using email clients and communication tools that were compatible with Windows, enhancing internal and external communication. And for consumers, home productivity. Consumers use Windows 3.0 for word processing, spreadsheets, and other productivity tasks. The graphical interface made these tasks more accessible to non-technical users. Gaming. Windows 3.0 supported a variety of games that took advantage of its graphical capabilities. This included both casual games and more complex titles. Multimedia. With the introduction of multimedia extensions, consumers could use Windows 3.0 for playing audio CDs, recording sound, and other multimedia tasks. Internet access. As the internet became more popular, consumers used Windows 3.0 to run early web browsers and connect to the internet. And educational software. A wide range of educational programs were available for Windows 3.0, making it a valuable tool for learning and development. Overall, Windows 3.0 and its successors provided a versatile platform that catered to the needs of both businesses and consumers, significantly enhancing productivity and usability. So that brings us to the end of the episode, talking about the history of Microsoft Windows 3.0 and also this mini-series covering the earliest version of Windows. I've mentioned dates from 1990, 1992 and 1993, so if you're listening on Mixcloud, That's where the music selection has come from for this episode. Thank you for listening to the Computer Vault podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review on whichever platform you're listening on, and be sure to come back for our next episode next Friday, where I'll talk about a new topic. You can also check out my website at www.computervault.co.uk, where you'll find previous blog posts from the podcast episodes and details of my collection, which includes books, manuals, CD-ROMs, floppy disks, magazines, cassette tapes, and some old retro computers too. Until then, leaving you with a quote from Paul R. Ehrlich, an American biologist and educator best known for his work on population studies and his warnings about the consequences of overpopulation: "To err is human, but to really foul things up, you need a computer."